Okay, and you know something I've noticed in the last year or so with graphic design. Uh, um, there's a lot of there's a lot of signage and there's a lot of signage. Let's do something horizontal here. There's a lot of signage with abstract looking art in it. I don't know, I guess they're trying to convey some kind of message for us crazy abstract artists because they know that that stuff gets attention, but a lot of it is done in black and white. So what you will see is a lot of so say that I'm going to do some abstract art. This is just linear abstract. I want to go in here and say do some kind of weird something. In abstract. And what they're doing is they are taking, man, my neck hurts. They're taking our abstract ideas and putting it with copy. Say like you have a coffee shop, which I don't know too many people have a coffee shop right now, and they will mix in abstract dimensions, abstract art, to give it a whole new dimension of ways to attract viewers. In other words, catch the eyeball, catch the eye. And you know, that's really nothing new. It's just that when the media gets a hold of it, then it turns into something new, like, you know, like we've never done that before. So they'll do some things that garners attention. Okay, let's see. Let's do let's do inspiration here. This is the kind of stuff they do. We were doing this years ago. My brother, he was pretty good at doing unusual lettering. And so that's basically what they're doing nowadays. How you spell it? Inspiration. Boy, yeah, it's been a long time since I've been to school. This is what they're doing with these letters. They're like, let's just take these letters, put some abstract junk around them, and we'll call it something. And a lot of it has to do with abstract art. Oh man, boy, my neck hurts. Oh. And that's what they're doing. A lot of the letters are not historically accurate as far as the way they're laid out, which I don't mind that either, because when I was doing hand lettering, I've had sign painters say, man, that's not how you do it. And I'd go, well, you know what? That's how I do it. And nowadays, you have to be different. You know, you have to do something different. And I think that's the point. Differentiating yourself. If you're a business with attracting customers, that's the only way you can attract customers, is to differentiate yourself. I'm just staring at something here on TV.
The graphics, photos, mind. Shapes, and elements that are put into a kind of a...
It's actually a guy that does graphics, and he's giving me some ideas. So you have to differentiate yourself. The way I differentiated myself was with my cars, my vehicles. I always had something that was different. You know, I like custom cars, and it was always something different. And that's what attracted people to my business. Not, I mean, you know, this was like on the road. When I was at the car show, they always stared at me. They always stare at me with their looks, which, you know, that's okay. So you take this stuff here, inspiration. This is just, you know, this isn't how they're doing it, but, you know, I mean, they've got all kind of ways to do this. And it really, you know, the old saying used to be gobbledygook. That's really what it is. We're living in, you know, such a weird time right now. You have to do something to brighten people's day up, and if they have to stop and stare at something, that's probably good. Stare and go, man, what is that? Makes them forget the stupidity that's rampant right now. Okay. So my idea would be like something like this. We can, you know, hand lettered. If you take, say, like a 2 foot by 1 foot board, and you hand lettered this on, of course it would look better. But this is what they're doing, man. They're just taking stuff and just randomly throwing it on there, like abstract art. It's really what it's all about. Unique. I was watching an episode of Leave It to Beaver one time, and Beaver was worried about his freckles, and the guy that picked on him a lot had a lot of freckles. This is a kind of a life lesson here, or business lesson. And Beaver was worried about girls not liking him, people not liking him, making fun of him because he had freckles. And he finally approached the kid that had lots of freckles, and he's asking about it, and the kid said, well, one thing about it, he said, when I go to the soda fountain, the guy behind the fountain always waited on him first because he was different. So he went back home and told his brother Wally about it. And his brother Wally goes, well, I guess if you want to get noticed, you have to do something different. And that's really the thing about businesses, is you have to do something different if you want to get noticed. And buddy, I have always been crazy for doing things different. Okay, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to do a little design that I did many years ago for my logo. It was Mike Hartman Design with a Z. So I'm going to introduce that. This is going to be a long video. Please, you know, bear with me. Let me get another one of my high dollar logo design plates. Can't really see where that is, but well, we'll just take a chance. Let's see how it goes. This is how you do this. See where you're at. Yeah, it's close. Go that way a little bit. This was a little design I did about 25 years ago. Let's see. 93. Wow. Almost 30 years ago. So what I did was I kind of made a little logo thing, It was kind of weird. It kind of looked like a hamburger to me, but it really wasn't. And I liked it. I've kept a lot of my art, design art from many, many years ago. I need one more thing. Okay, here we go. Many years ago. And it has helped me over the years to refresh my memory of when I was actually good at this. Because as the years go by, your old mind gets pretty well played out. You just can't do it the way you used to. So you have to go back and look at things that you've done in the past. Like this. Not really that good. I'm going to try to do this pretty quick. So, okay, let's do this here. This is going to be a long video, so hope nobody fires me too. I'm going to go about 10 more minutes. And then I'm going to stop the video. And start over. Finish it. I think you get my drift though, where I'm coming from here. Some of these little things here I have to get up. I'm just not as flexible as I used to be. I'm going to do this here and see what happens. I used to just sit at my drafting table and do this all day long. I didn't know what was going to come of it. Had no clue. And of course, I mean, it helped with my sign painting and doing logos for people, but I never really made a career out of doing this stuff. I mean, all it did was, I think it taught me a lot about color theory, which I don't really think you can call what I do color theory. But it did teach me a lot. It taught me how to make some little cool designs, and with what I had, what I knew. But I think you guys get the drift here, what I'm doing. I need to get some light blue in there. Let's see here. There we go. So really I'm just making a mess here is all I'm doing. Oh, that's too close to that blue. Let's do this here. In my world, I think we need more. We need someone to make more colors. You go to the art store and they have all these goddamn colors. I'm like, what is that? And when you put them on paper or canvas, they basically look alike. So that's where tinting comes in, where you take a little bit of white in your paint, change colors. And that's how you do that. What do y'all say? I don't want more green. I'm not a fan of green. Take some dark blue here. was buying and selling cars, I bought and sold a lot of normal cars, but most of them were custom cars, cars I would buy and do things to, customize them. But you know, if you know what you're doing, it's pretty good, pretty lucrative. But you have to know what you're doing. I mean, you know, you have to be able to do a lot of the work. You know, I knew how to do paint and body work and suspension work and engine work. I mean, I did have people help me, but for the most part, I did most of it. And you know, I mean, that you know, if you know how to do a lot of that stuff, you can make money. But in my career, and maybe yours too, I just did what came natural, and that was going out here and striping people's cars and buying and selling cars. You know, trying to make more friends than enemies. Sometimes it worked, sometimes it didn't. But a lot of people out there take advantage of you. And fortunately for me, I grew up with a dad who didn't let people take advantage of him. And he kind of taught us that too. He was an artist. He was a wrestler. He wrestled back in the 50s and 60s. Went to Madison Square Garden. Wrestled up there. But as long as I can remember, until he got in an accident, we were always traveling, and you know, we had a pretty good time. I mean, he had a pretty bad temper. The guy was 6'4". I think when he first started wrestling, he weighed about 220, somewhere around 210. And he eventually got up to like 260, 280. And there's no fat on him. He had about 20-inch muscle, 20-inch arms. But watching him, he wasn't a great teacher, but watching him a lot the way I did helped me do what I do for all those years. You know, Dad was a great hustler. I mean, when he got in his accident, they put him on LSD back in the 60s due to a head injury. That's what they did. And boy, I tell you, it messed him up. I think the LSD did more damage than the accident, because man, he was pretty hard to live with. So they gave him a little settlement. I think gave him $7,000 or $8,000 back then, which I don't know how much that'd be today. Probably 50 or 60, which isn't that much. We moved out of Houston into the country, like I mentioned yesterday. And all that time, you know, as your kid, you don't think you're learning anything. But my dad, we used to watch him buy a car. You know, he did some work. I mean, he could do work when he wanted to. My dad was kind of weird. He wasn't real good about, wasn't too good about, you know, doing things for us kids. I mean, he did, but he was the type of person, man. You know, when you're about 8 or 9 years old, you need to know how to do things. So basically, for me, I pretty much grew up by the time I was 8, I had to grow up. I had to pretty much do everything on my own, and that's just the way it was. You know, there's no ifs, ands, or buts. And although he had disability, he made a bunch of kids. When I left home, there were 8 of us. And he was drawing a Social Security check of like around $280, which is not a lot of money. But he knew how to hustle. He'd hustle cars, and he did some welding. And at that time, they were kind of getting into restoring cars for people. A couple of my brothers helped out with that when the one wasn't out doing crazy things. And I left home at 15 to go to work in Houston in construction with my uncle. Came back home, gave all my money to my parents, and I did that for 6 months. Came back home, went back to school, quit again at 16 and a half, went roughnecking down in South Texas. Then I was at 18, I went offshore, worked offshore, But in between all that, I did a lot of other things. Worked on a ranch. Worked at Circle K. Did odd jobs. Clean out big old giant chicken coops. You know, clean chicken manure. And worked at the body shop after school. Bought my first car when I was 15 for $60. 54 Ford. Let's see. Let's just go with Hartman. I don't know how that's gonna work. Just try it out. So I fixed that car up. Somebody had painted it with a brush. So I DA'd all the paint down as smooth as I could. Painted it. See, that's not gonna match, but that's okay. We'll fix it. We'll just do this. The guy that I worked for went to school with his brothers. He told me to take all the paint down there underneath the paint counter and mix it together, anything I wanted to, and paint it that color. So mixed it all together and ended up like this green here, like a dark army green. I mean, I think that's why I hate green. And so we did that. I mean, I got it inspected myself. I have a picture of the title. I may even have the title, but I do have a picture of the title. I got a title in my name when I was 17. And, you know, I had a lady at the automotive tax office tell me there's no way. So last year when I went in there, I took her a picture. She said, I can't believe that. I said, well, things were different back in the 70s. So all that stuff that I did back then, led me up to this point. Of course, there's a lot of things in between that I never mentioned. But the greatest thing of all, like I said yesterday or whenever, I'm still married to my same wife, same lady, since 1976. We have 3 great kids. And my wife she worked mostly for her brothers. They were in construction. Yeah, she's a little bitty lady and she helped them do all kind of construction. But she finally went to work full time 11 years ago. We needed insurance for this stupid diabetes of mine. And so she went to work doing that and supporting us pretty much. I mean, you know, like I said, 2015 I had pretty much quit striping. Pretty much quit striping. And ever since then, I have been trying to figure out what to do. Because, I mean, I can do this kind of stuff. I should have kept my YouTube channel. You know, I think that's where I screwed up. If I would have kept the YouTube channel from 2010, 2011, I don't remember exactly what year. If I would have kept the YouTube channel, maybe we'd be in the big bucks. So I don't know. So even though I'm 64 years old and I'm basically starting over, because my wife, she wants to retire because she's physically just about unable to do that work at the hospital. And, you know, like a lot of people, we don't have a whole lot of money put back in retirement. We've got some, but not a lot. And fortunately for us, we have wonderful kids who have helped us. In fact, we live in our daughter's house. They built us a small apartment. I don't want that to be permanent. But my boys sold their other place where we had a duplex. They have duplex, not me. Anyway, that's life like everybody else. So anyway, you see what I'm doing here. Nothing fantastic, but just, you know, some little colorful, artsy designs, logos, and get your Sharpies out and your pens and go for it. Alrighty, tomorrow will be Flaming Friday.